More than 100 activists aboard aid ships bound for Gaza were taken to the Greek island of Crete on Friday after Israeli forces seized their vessels in international waters near Greece. Flotilla organisers said the activists were part of a second global Sumud flotilla launched in recent months in an attempt to break Israel's blockade of Gaza by delivering humanitarian assistance. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif on Friday directed that an effective regulatory system for virtual assets in line with international standards should be operationalised as soon as possible. The remarks came as PM Shahbaz met with State Minister and Pakistan Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority, PIRVARA, Chairman Bilal bin Saqib in Lahore, according to a handout by the Prime Minister's office, PMO. When Indonesia's Finance Minister Purbaya Yudi Sadewa floated the idea last week of charging a toll for vessels passing through the Strait of Malacca, inspired by Iran's moves in the Strait of Hormuz, it set off alarm bells among insurers and Asian importers. While Indonesia quickly walked back the suggestion, it underscored a growing reality. Analysts say what was once a rules-based order governing maritime navigation is becoming a more dangerous, expensive and, above all, politicised business.
Donald Trump has, over the past 48 hours, said that he is considering withdrawing American troops stationed in Germany, Italy and Spain amid mounting tensions with European nations over their criticism of his handling of the war with Iran. Earlier in the week, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that the US was being humiliated by Iran in the ongoing war, adding the Trump administration had no truly convincing strategy to bring the conflict to an end.
A woman was killed and several children were injured during Israel's latest attacks in Lebanon. Civilians are the majority of victims of attacks over the past 24 hours.
And manager Eddie Howe says that Newcastle United's Saudi Arabian owners remained as committed as ever to the club's success, even as their public investment fund prepares to cut ties with the LIV Golf Series. PIFE, which spent more than $5 billion on LIV Golf since it launched in 2022, said on Thursday that it would cut funding at the close of the 2026 season, leaving the breakaway circuit scrambling for new backers. And Benfica coach Jose Mourinho says there has been no contact between him and Real Madrid, despite speculation that the Spanish giants could turn to him soon. The veteran Portuguese coach, who led Los Blancos from 2010 to 2013 in a heated rivalry with Pep Guardiola's Barca, is reported to be on Madrid's shortlist for a new coach.
Power Minister Awais Leghari announced on Friday that the recent spell of electricity load shedding has officially ended following the arrival of a liquefied natural gas (LNG) shipment in Pakistan. In a televised statement, the minister said the power outages over the past month were triggered by a temporary gas shortage that arose due to the US-Iran situation.
India raised on Friday the prices of commercial liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, and jet fuel for international airlines, according to a state-run energy firm, as supply pressures from the Middle East war mount. The South Asian nation is heavily dependent on imported energy, including for roughly 60% of its LPG, the fuel used for cooking by a vast section of its population, the largest in the world.
The US war on Iran has boosted prices of globally traded natural gas by throttling exports from the Gulf. In West Texas, gas is so abundant that some producers must pay to have it taken away. The war and Iran's attacks on Gulf energy producers have halted 20% of global liquefied natural gas, LNG, supply.
US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has argued that the clock has paused on a deadline for the Trump administration to seek approval from Congress for the US-Israeli war with Iran. Hegseth was responding to questions from members of the Senate or upper chamber on Thursday.
And from almost any other country, the answer would have been a firm no. But when the United Arab Emirates came under a relentless Iranian attack during the US-Israeli war on Tehran, Israel agreed to deploy one of its most sensitive military systems. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu secretly ordered the Israeli military to send an Iron Dome interceptor battery and soldiers to operate it to the UAE after a call with President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and a move that demonstrates just how far ties have come.
The head of a Greek Orthodox church in Jerusalem has condemned a brutal attack on a nun in the city earlier in the week and warned of growing concerns over the future for Christians living in the Holy Land. Archbishop Attala Hanna said on Facebook that the attack on a nun escalating violations against Christian institutions in the city.
Another major increase in petroleum prices, including petrol and diesel, has been challenged in the Federal Constitutional Court. The petition names the government of Pakistan and the Secretary of the Establishment Division as respondents. Researchers have developed a solar-powered approach that can convert plastic waste into fuel similar to petrol and other chemicals. This is a completely new way to curb plastic pollution by converting it into clean energy. The study was led by University of Adelaide PhD researcher Xiao Lu. The team followed a process that uses sunlight to transform discarded plastics into hydrogen, syngas and other valuable chemical products.
The Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, PTA, has directed internet service providers, ISPs, to improve their services after detecting slow internet across 31 major cities, including Azad Jammu and Kashmir, AJK, and Gilgit-Baltistan, GB. PTA made these remarks in its Quality of Service QoS assessment of fixed-line broadband networks for Q1 2026. Italy has raised the financial proof requirement for international students applying for a study visa for university enrollment to $10,179.85 per year, according to the latest official procedures published on the Universitali portal. The updated requirement applies to international students seeking a study visa for university enrollment, also known as a National Type D visa, for higher education courses in Italy. Pakistan recorded a second consecutive month of improving security indicators in April 2026, with militant attacks and related casualties declining markedly, according to a report released by the Pakistan Institute for Conflict and Security, PCSS. The Islamabad-based think tank documented 85 verified militant attacks in April, down from 146 in March, a 42% decrease. As per the data, fatalities resulting from militant attacks fell from 106 in March to 60 in April, continuing a downward trend that began the previous month, when overall combat-related deaths dropped by 35%.
Islamabad, a private citizen has approached the Federal Constitution Court, FCC, seeking relief against the recent increase in petrol and diesel prices. It emerged on Friday. The government on Thursday raised petrol and diesel prices while simultaneously extending fuel subsidies for motorcyclists and the transport sector, seeking to cushion the impact of rising global oil costs on vulnerable consumers.
More than 160 activists on board aid ships forming a flotilla bound for Gaza have been taken to the Greek island of Crete after Israeli forces seized their vessels in international waters near Greece earlier this week. Freedom Flotilla organizers have said the organizers told the Reuters news agency on Friday that 168 members of the flotilla crew had been taken to Crete, while 2 activists remained with Israeli authorities.
And after being harried by complaints that its search function needed improving, Reddit has in the last few years invested in its search engine and has even added AI features to help its users find what they're looking for. And it appears that investment is finally paying off. The company has seen a 30% year-on-year jump in the number of people using search every week, CEO Steve Huffman said on Thursday. and. Huffman noted that search has been one of the major drivers of user acquisition and retention for the platform.
The Punjab government has launched the Rahmat Card programme to provide financial assistance to widows and orphan families across the province. Under the programme, 50,000 deserving families will receive support. Widows will get Rs 1 lakh, while orphan families will also receive 1 lakh per family. Free public transport in Punjab will remain operational for another month. However, the final decision will be taken by Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz. According to official sources, Chief Minister Maryam Nawaz has called a meeting in this regard on Monday for the final decision.
The Pakistan Meteorological Department has predicted dust storms, thunderstorms and rain in the upper and central parts of the country from the night of May 2 to May 4. According to the Met Office, a fresh westerly wave is likely to enter the northwestern parts of Pakistan on the evening of May 2. The system is expected to affect the upper parts of the country until the morning of May 5. Rain could affect the PSL 11 final at Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore on Sunday, May 3, as the Pakistan Meteorological Department has predicted rain, dust storms and thunderstorms in parts of Punjab and rest of the country from May 2 to May 4. Peshawar Zalmi have already qualified for the final. They will face the winner of tonight's match between Islamabad United and Hyderabad Kingsmen.
And Islamabad. Power Minister Awais Lagari on Friday declared the end of a month-long load-shedding period after a shipment of liquefied natural gas, LNG, arrived in Pakistan a day earlier. The Power Minister made the announcement in a recorded televised message, saying that the recent power outages were caused by a gas shortage linked to the war between the US and Iran and were not the result of incompetence or system failure.
Islamabad. The Federal Constitutional Court, FCC, has ruled that the customary practice of nominating or recognising a chieftain Sardar by members of a tribe does not vest such an individual with the legal authority to attest local certificates, domicile certificates or computerised national identity card, CNC applications. The observations came while rejecting a petition filed by a self-proclaimed tribal chieftain seeking his recognition as the Sardar of the Karoti tribe. Lindsay Foreman says she is keeping sane by reading, doing laps of the prison yard, and when she can, practicing yoga. Exercise, she says, has always been her salvation. But after 16 months in jail in Iran, Lindsay admits she is struggling.
Brazil's Congress has overturned a veto of a bill that would dramatically reduce former President Jair Bolsonaro's prison sentence for plotting a coup after he lost the last election. Last year, Bolsonaro was sentenced to 27 years in jail for his attempt to cling to power after losing the 2022 elections to Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva.
The interruption to supplies of fertiliser and its key ingredients due to the war in Iran could cost up to 10 billion meals a week globally and will hit poorest countries hardest, according to the boss of one of the world's biggest fertiliser producers. Svein Tore Holster, chief executive of Yara, told the BBC that hostilities in the Gulf, which have blocked shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, are jeopardising global food production.